coming into being. So as I am typing in my little message, just allow yourself to take a couple deep breaths in and connect with yourself. I'm still on this dual channel here. I'm looking at two different positions. So uh, I think that looks a little funny. Hey, Laria, welcome. Typing in my message. So just get settled in. You know the drill. Get relaxed. Takes a couple deep breaths as I type in my message, and really allow yourself to just come into being i- and be present for a moment, and we'll get started. Okay. Need to cook dinner. Well, that's fine. You can use that cooking into dinner and follow along even while you're cooking dinner. So um, no worries with that. So even if you are doing something in the middle of doing something and you're tuning in, you can do the same. Maybe you can help me to master staying in presence. Yes. Hey, Kayla. So again, just if you're, even if you're not just sitting there, as you're moving about, you can really become aware of yourself in your present environment, uh, and become aware of your body as you're moving, as you're doing things. And so you might be stirring that pot, cutting up those vegetables, and just become really focused into, your hand holding the knife, your hand holding the vegetable as you slice through, and being, in that place of really observing what you're doing as you're moving. And for the rest of you, if you're just coming in and chilling out and sitting down. So sit down and really become aware of yourself and your physical environment. And taking some nice deep breaths in, whatever you're doing. So cooking, or as Ilaria is doing, or just sitting there. Take some deep breaths and really feel yourself breathing. And if you're cooking those, cutting up the vegetables, you want to stay focused on and present with focusing with cutting the vegetables so you don't cut your fingers in the process. And at the same time, becoming aware of your breath. Most of the time, we're always kind of tuning into more than one thing. So, but when we become conscious of it, a lot of times we kind of freeze up. It's like, no, I have a hard time doing this. So just relax into that. Let yourself breathe and kind of expand the awareness. So it's like peripheral awareness. Instead of being really focused on exactly what's in front of you, you can be aware of what's in front of you and tuned into that and paying attention to that. But you can also be at the same time aware of the peripheral awareness. It's like driving a car. You're aware of what's ahead on the road, but you're also aware at what's at the sides, unless you're on the phone, which you shouldn't be, or texting, which you shouldn't be. So when you're really focused on what you're doing in the driving, that's how it works. We have that awareness of what's at the sides. So just allowing yourself to come into that awareness as you're sitting there. So what's in front of you, but you might have the whole view, kind of taking in that whole view, 180 at least, probably a little bit more, and just relaxing in and allowing your breath to become a little deeper, a little bit more relaxed, and to shift out of that active mode to kind of start kind of calming the body down a little bit. One thing you can do is have longer exhales than inhales. The exhale has to do with the sympathetic nervous system, so that relaxation. mode of the body. So, for example, if you count up 4, you might want to hold it for a pause, or you can just kind of go into the exhale. Exhale for 6 or even 8 or longer. So let's do that again together. So let's inhale for 4, 3, 4, hold, and then exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can just continue that on your own. And you'll notice that as you exhale for longer, and sometimes it takes a little bit of practice because we're used to having a breathing rhythm that's not really set right, that's agitated or held or whatever. But you'll notice that as you breathe out and really focus on slowing that down, your whole body kind of relaxes down. And then if you want, you can, if you're sitting and not cutting up vegetables or playing with heat there in the kitchen, and close your eyes and allow yourself to become even more relaxed. And as you close your eyes, it's not to fall asleep, though this is a good start for having deeper sleep, is tune into your body. And you're welcome to keep your eyes open also and see if you can do this while your eyes are open. It's always good practice too, because then when you practice here, then or on your own, then it's easier to do it, like when you're driving or doing other things. Focused, come into awareness of the head. And just allow yourself to feel your head, to be present in your head. And notice, like your eyebrows are part of your head, your nose, your cheeks, lips, forehead, your ears. Your ears, there's a lot of folds in those ears, and heading into the ear canal. And as you tune into both ears, you might have a sense of, oh, wait, there's one that's a little higher or a little, a little different position. They're not exactly the same position on both sides. Noticing your earlobes and the back of your ear, right, as it goes into the skull. Just kind of bring your awareness there. And above the ears. And moving towards the back of the head. You might notice the back of your head when you put your head down on the pillow, because all of a sudden there's this physical contact that brings your awareness there. But try doing it right now and bringing your awareness to the back of your head. And as you do that, you might become aware of your hair. So like all the hair follicles on your scalp, on your head. And for some people, those hair follicles might not be so active anymore, but they're kind of there anyways, even if they've just kind of shut down and not producing hair anymore. They're still there. Now see if you can feel your head all the way around. And you might need to move your awareness around a little bit. Just be really present so that you're aware of your whole head. So it might be just the external part of the head for now. That's a good start. Might have a sense of the skull, the shape of that skull. And even going in deeper than the skull. You're having a sense of the brain itself, the whole brain. And is there one area of the brain or one half of the brain that is doesn't feel as lit up or is as active or than the other? Or do they feel equal? Do they feel like they're perfectly at the same level of activity? Maybe it's the front of the head that feels more active or that maybe is a little more dimmed out because it's you've been working so much that it's time for a break. And as you breathe, just allowing that breath to move that energy through your head to open up those areas that are not so active or that have been overly active and so need just a little bit of refreshing, kind of get reset. And just breathing into that. Yeah, very nice. So again, if you're whether you're cooking or just sitting there, cooking or doing something, being active, you can do this. And and coming into the breath is the one thing that you can do that will help to just slow you down to become more present. And then let's move into the neck now. So you can slide down the back of the neck or the sides or wherever you want, the chin. So a lot of times we have a tendency to be very aware of front side because that's what we're always looking at. That's what we're always kind of we look in the mirror. That's what we see, So that's what we put out to the world. So tuning into that area. So you start with that, but then tuning in, bringing in to your awareness those areas that are not so common to focus on. The sides of your neck. It's kind of this nice long line here from right behind your earlobes down. And if you tune in very softly, very gently, very deeply, if it's quiet enough in your mind, you can actually start to have a sense of that flow of the blood because right there is that got a nice big vein right there. So let's take a moment and see if you can get into that awareness. And you may not, but just that taking that moment to kind of listen in more deeply, tune in more deeply. Feel that, feel that area. If you want to touch it a little bit, and then put your hands down to activate that a little deeper awareness through the physical sensation. That's fine. And some people have that level of awareness with their body that they can feel that movement of the blood. for example, in the veins. And you might not feel the movement, but you might have a sense of something. It's like not quite a tingling, but just for me, it's almost like this sense of I guess friction is the word. It's kind of interesting. Just like the feeling is the same as if I just do this with my fingers. While I'm moving to the back of the head from that area, or the back of the neck, sorry. So the back of the neck, it's kind of interesting because there's the occiput area of the skull of the brain area, and we can get very aware of that notch there, and then aware of the spine itself. So the vertebrae in the neck, there's 7 of them. Starting with what's called the atlas, which is right in that area, the occiput and the spine coming together. And that's also a very good practice, is just feel into each vertebrae. Bring your awareness very deep inside. So it's very interesting because when we're not used to doing this, we will feel that we can't do it. It's like, wow, that's really hard to do. That's impossible. It just takes a little training. I remember someone who was in healing school with me. She was a nurse. I think she did nurse of physical therapy. And so one of the things I remember her talking, stuff that they did with patients to help them with regain like muscle activities, is to just with a little pointer to just touch a muscle like on the leg. It says, okay, move this muscle, move this muscle, then move around like that. And when I listen to her, it's like, oh my God, that's like, how can I do that? Just move that one muscle. And eventually over time of doing that, then you actually learn to be able to do that. So same thing with that awareness on those vertebrae. Really kind of going in that. We won't take the whole time to do that, but you can kind of, by bringing your awareness deeply into the neck, and kind of aiming to feel those vertebrae, and aiming to try to feel them one by one, you start to really be more present in that area of your body. And I think a lot of people have a lot of neck issues, for a lot of different reasons. So bringing our awareness into an area helps to just open up that area. And sometimes that's enough to make things relax. Sometimes you do need more attention, more specific work, such as adjustment or massage or acupuncture or a lot of other things. But feeling that neck. Now, let's see if we can really feel that 360 degrees. Even becoming aware of the tissues on the inside of the neck. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys right now are feeling, okay, that head and that neck feels pretty relaxed, and then the rest of the body doesn't feel the same. And you start being aware, just kind of slowing down, just bringing the awareness into an area. So yeah, let's move into that of just being, being aware of your head and neck. And it's not to say there's no tension in those areas. There might be some tensions, but generally it'll kind of the sense of relaxation of just presence there, and notice how your head and neck compare to the rest of your body. And if you want to comment in on the chat, uh, on if what you're noticing, go ahead. It's almost like there's a hmm, how to describe it. For me, the way I would describe is there's like this softness. The sense of softness is in the tissue of the head and the neck. And if I and kind of uniform. Yeah, that's a good way, uniform. And just kind of at a glance, the rest of the body, it feels a little jagged. It feels a little kind of like, yeah, jagged. It's like lines going in kind of all different directions, where kind of the neck and the head are more kind of like a cotton ball kind of feeling. So let's move into those shoulders now. Top of the shoulders. And those shoulder joints that go into the arm. So when you bring your awareness to your shoulders and top and then the joints, you might start to notice tension in your arms. So it might kind of feel like, oh, kind of interesting, because it's like you feel like your shoulders are kind of relaxed now with your awareness there, and then your arms are, there's some tensions in your arms. So let's move into those arms. So upper arms. And when you really kind of start doing that, it's like you can feel your awareness, your energy just instantly moving into that part that you bring your attention to. And that kind of just kind of relaxing. It's like everything kind of aligning, falling into place. With the upper arms, then it's like the lower arms. So moving into the lower arms. Let's go all the way to the hands and fingertips with that one. And while you're there, just notice, doing both arms at the same time, just notice, is there one side that feels more tense than the other? It's interesting. What's coming to mind is that, I didn't grow up with a computer, not until I was in uh, late 80s, actually, because I was living overseas most of the 80s. Oh, so we learned how to write. So whatever hand that people were writing in, it's like the like I said, I'm right-handed, so that right hand and that right arm in a lot of use, whereas the left hand not so much. So the left arm and hand tended to be more relaxed. So what's coming up is I'm wondering, with people who are always kind of just working on the computers, they're using both, and what's happened to that uh, hand dominance, since we're on the computer, you're using both at the same time. So if there's more of the same, or because there's still kind of a hand dominance with maybe other tasks for most people, there are some people that are kind of both equally both use equally both hands for all tasks. Um, and most people use one or another depending on the task, but have a tendency to be dominant in one hand, one side. But allowing yourself to relax into all the way to the fingertips, and maybe having a sense of those bones, the flesh on those bones, the tendons. So as you bring in your awareness and your relaxation into the arms, you bring in that blood flow also. It's not that blood flow will follow your mind, but if you're always pulled up in your head, um, the energetic flow of your body is going to pull up, and that's going to have an impact on your physical body. And actually, some people who are sensitive to, uh, who get cold hands and cold feet, for example, will probably really notice that. And so relaxing, feeling, putting your awareness into your whole arms, down into your through your hands, fingertips, and you might even notice that the tips of your fingertips are not necessarily tingling, but there's kind of sensation there that you hadn't noticed before. If you work with the chakra systems, there's very tiny chakras at the not quite at the tips, but at the end of the fingers. So that's why there can be more, you get into that sensation. All chakras are a way of taking in energy into the system and putting it back out because we're always interacting at the energetic level with everything around us. And that's kind of the basic functions of chakras, whether it's the minor chakras or the seven major chakras that most people know. Every joint in your body has a chakra, basically, in the chakra system. So again, it's just that intake and outflow, inflow and outflow of energy into your system. So let's kind of just move your awareness up from your fingertips back up to your upper chest. Relaxing into that upper chest. So that's the breath, the heartbeat. Seeing if you feel your heartbeat or if you're so relaxed that you have a really hard time hearing it, which is possible. And if that's the case, if you can just tune in a little bit more deeply. And Ilaria, just kind of keep working at it. Just come into your body more. It's a little bit of reorientation and skills development to be in that present state of being and moving around because we kind of learn we have a tendency to when we're moving around to pull up into our heads and move and talk from there, but you can actually do those things while fully centered in your body. But because we learned so much to be in here when we're talking, when we're present, when we're dealing with other people, um, and and present, not really present, but dealing, out doing this, well, we're really up here. And when learning, so it's like learning a new skill, you know, of being present in your whole being and still being able to talk from that place. Because a lot of times you'll notice if you start talking, if you're just calm here, so let's do this. Just come into your chest. So really kind of take a moment to really focus in on your breath, listening to your heartbeat or even just your breath if you can. Noticing the movement of your chest in and out. Focusing on the back side too, noticing, becoming aware of your spine and your rib cage. And so the movement of the rib cage, allow yourself to sink into that for a minute. Now, what I want you to do is just stay in that presence of that rib cage, movement of the rib cage, really feeling yourself there. And now just go to say anything, hello, whatever you want, your name, and notice what happens when you do. Probably notice that you're nice and centered in your chest, and all of a sudden feeling that upward pull into here to say something into your head. So when you notice that you're doing that, it's like, okay, let's try that again. Coming back into the chest, into the breathing. You might feel your energy just kind of possibly like moving from forward back into and then down your back. That's pretty common. You might feel your whole kind of upper body move slightly back, just gentle, slightly back. Because we do a lot of the thinking processes in the frontal lobes. So that will make us come in here more. And now from that lower chest, let's really sink into that lower chest. Really sinking into the breathing into your chest. And see if you can just do this, just staying here, staying with your awareness in your breath, in your chest, and saying anything, your word, hello, and staying here as best as you can. Hello. So very different feel. So are you talking from here or are you talking from here? And you will feel yourself pull up. So coming into being into that awareness of your being. All right, let's move into the lower abdomen, the lower half, kind of waist on down. So below that rib cage, all the way down to the pelvic floor, the butt, really coming into that area. It's good when you're eating to do this. So you get that movement going down because your food goes down. If you're up here watching TV, unless you can be really fully present in your body while you're watching TV or if you're talking, probably be up here. Good digestion, you want to be in that lower abdomen, relaxing into that lower abdomen. So again, it's that kind of learning to walk and chew gum at the same time. So you're eating and then you're also present in your lower abdomen as you're talking while eating. Feel your back also. Notice that back. See if you feel that curve in the back. Might not have a curve, might have a curve, but just about waist level and moving on down, there's that back kind of curves. Or you might notice that your back is curving that way instead of curving this way. As you bring your awareness into that lower back, you might feel some relaxation come into that area. Because when we pull up into that head, that pulls everything up. Everything gets pulled up. The energy from your whole body goes up. It's not just here. It's your whole body that is pulling up. You might notice all of a sudden it's like, wow, okay, yeah, I can feel that warmth there too. Maybe what you're sitting on. At 360 degrees now, front, side, and back. Your belly button in the front, you've got your hips at the side, you've got your spine in the back, and everything else that's in that lower abdomen, inside and out. And moving into the thighs. Feeling those thighs. Having a sense of that flesh, those muscles, that tissue, those tendons, that skin, that maybe a layer of fat on there without getting critical of yourself there. The have a sense of that blood flowing through the muscles, the nervous system, the bone at the center of all that. And at the center of the bone, the marrow. Now that's an important part of your immune system right there. Creating those red blood cells in that bone marrow. See if you can have a sense of that, just bringing your awareness into that and having a sense of that. Each of those layers will feel different, respond to a different frequency. And even if you don't have a sense of that right now, that's okay because this is kind of opening up that awareness that there's all those different layers in there, even if you can't distinguish one from the other. And moving into your knees. Your knees take a lot. Knees do a lot. that mobility, the way that bone from the thigh comes into the knee, and then the two bones down below. And why are there two bones in the lower part of the leg? It's for that rotation of the foot. You can't have the rotation with just one bone. With two bones, that ankle can rotate with a lot greater range, or just with the range, and it can't do that with so that knee is in the middle of that one bone, because the thighs don't really need to have that rotation angles, and the lower legs. Same with the arms, same thing with that rotation and the bones set up there. And then all the way to the ankles. And the feet, like the hands, boy, there's a lot of little bones in there. We didn't do that into the hands, but let's just kind of get a sense of that with the feet. All those different bones. And we've got like these. You don't see them on your feet, but the bones for the toes are kind of like your fingers. There's kind of these long things, even though we just see the little end of with our toes, what we call the toes. Noticing the arch of the foot. That's an interesting place. How much of an arch does your foot have? And are your feet sitting perfectly flat on the floor? Or are they a little different? If they're a little different, well, that might explain the wear on your shoe. That might explain why you walk kind of funny, or you have one foot that's turned more one way than the other, all the way to the toes. And taking some time, here's an interesting spot to bring your awareness into, is that underneath of the toes, the underneath part of the toes. All right, now let's take a nice deep breath in, pulling that all the way through our bodies, from the feet all the way through our whole bodies, and exhaling out. Taking a moment to just become aware of your whole body, and top of your head to the bottoms of your feet. All right, very good. Yeah, just taking that time to really bring ourselves into our bodies and really connecting into that physical structure that is our body. That's our house, our physical house, what we live in while we're here on earth. And Ilaria, doing all right. Putting a little bit more awareness on your feet always helps to bring it further down, but you're doing pretty good there. And it's just about practice. As soon as there's movement, when we're sitting down, it's really easy to come into that relaxation, to be really present. And then as soon as we move, everything starts to kind of pull tends to pull up and be up here. So work in progress. So you just practice with that. And becoming aware of your physical body like now is it's good to take that time when we can to just be present and give that moment for everything to realign itself, to reset itself, as you bring that awareness, just giving that reset to your whole being, connecting in. And in that stillness of being. Yeah, very nice. Okay, so new time is you can tell. I think it's going to be a little bit easier to do, at least for me. 7 p.m. Central European time, so that's 1 p.m. Eastern. So thanks for joining in, and we'll see you next week. So take care, everybody.